Good evening, everybody. So we're going to continue our work with solving equations. Yesterday we did one-step equations. Today we're going to be doing two-step equations. So I have the problem written here already. The problem is 2c plus 4 equals negative 18. And just a quick little reminder of what we're at. The C represents the cups that we were using on Friday. The 4 are beans, so I have 4 beans outside of my 2 cups. And then this is negative 18, which obviously we can't show negative beans, but it represents beans as well. So beans, beans, cups, just a quick little reminder. So if we think about what we did on Friday, in order to look underneath these cups, we had to get rid of the beans that were on the same side as the cups. So we're going to do the same thing in the two-step equation. I always want to get rid of my beans first, so I have nothing but cups left. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 4 from this to get rid of those 4 beans. I do the opposite operation right there. And anything I do to the left side of the equal sign, I have to do to the right-hand side of the equal sign. So I subtract 4 on the right-hand side. So what I'm left with on the left-hand side then is 2c. That's 0, so there's equals, and notice that I'm lining up my equal sign into a column there. And then right here, it's probably a good idea to do a diagram. So this is negative 18, then boom, boom. So negative 18 gets 2 negatives, negative 4 gets 1 negative, circle 1 of each. They're the same, so that means add, so that gives me 22, and then that negative sign negative sign. Okay, so then I'm left with this, and that's my first step. So I've now completed my first step of the two-step equations. The second step, I need to get rid of this 2. So I have 2 cups here. If you remember from Friday, we separated these into 2 groups. Another word for separate is to divide. And so I'm going to use this symbol for my division sign. I'm going to divide by 2. Anything I do the left-hand side of my equal sign, I have to do the right-hand side of my equal sign. This creates a giant 1, and I'm left with C, and this is negative 11. And we know that it's negative because of the rule, and the rule is signs are different, the answer is negative. So one's negative, one's positive, the signs are different, so the answer is negative. So my answer is negative 11. Take a look at another one here. It is 5c minus 2 equals 18. Remember to be adding things to your notes as I'm saying them, and your blue columns, of course. And don't forget to use pause if I'm going too quickly. 5c minus 2 equals 18. Okay, once again, we have a two-step equation to solve. 5 cups in this case. This one we're missing a couple of extra beans from this side, and on this side we have 18 beans. So, just like the last time, I always want to get rid of the beans that are on the outside. This time I'm trying to get rid of negative beans. To get rid of negative beans, I have to do the opposite of that, and the opposite of negative beans would be adding beans, or positive beans. So I'm going to add 2. Again, these are always opposite signs, just like up there. If I add 2 beans to this side, I need to add 2 beans to the right-hand side. So what I'm left with here is 5c equals, and 18 plus 2, of course, is 20. No need to do a diagram because they're all positive. And then my last step, I need to get the c by itself, so I need to separate them out or to divide them up. I'm going to divide by what I'm multiplying by. This right here is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. That's the division symbol I'm going to use. Divide this side by 5. I divide by that coefficient. Whatever that number is, that's what I divide by. If I divide this side by 5, I need to divide this side by 5. And when I do that, this makes a giant 1. I'm left with C. And on the right-hand side, 20 divided by 5 is 4. Okay, so there's 2 examples. We're going to do 2 more, and then I have 4 problems for you to try. Again, make sure that you're adding extra notes. Don't just be copying down just the steps that I have. Use your own words to explain this to yourself, both here and in your blue column, and of course in your summary. The next problem that we have to do is x over, excuse me, no it's not. It is c over 4 plus 2 equals 5. So c over 4 plus 2 equals 5. Again, two-step equation because we have some division here and addition. So I'm going to do those in two separate steps. Just like last time, if you remember when we did notes on Friday, I used a half of a cup in my demonstration. Well, this would be a fourth of a cup instead of a half of a cup. So I have a fourth of a cup here because I divided it by 4. In fact, let me grab that. It would look like this. So there's a fourth of a cup. You can see if I put that on the overhead, you would see that it's about 1/4. That's what this is. So I have a fourth of a cup, and then I have 2 extra beans. I need to get rid of those 2 extra beans first, and of course I have 5 beans on this side. So to get rid of those 2 beans, I do the opposite operation, which would be subtract 2 from both sides. So I'm left with c over 4, that's 0, equals 3. Now to get rid of this denominator here, I need to do the opposite operation of that one. Opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply everything by my denominator, the number I want to get rid of. So that's multiplying by 4. I multiply this side by 4. And these simplify out to a giant 1. And I'm left with c equals, and 4 times 3 is 12. So that gave me my answer for that one. So that means this number is 12. Plug it in there real quick. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 3 plus 2 equals 5, so it works out. And our last example for today is 1/2, excuse me, no it's not, it's 1/5 c minus 8 equals -3. So 1/5 c minus 8 equals -3. So you'll see I wrote this in both forms that we talked about Friday. You can write it like this, it means division. You can write it like this, and we're going to do the same problem, or same method for both of these. Just another way of writing it. And then I'm missing 8 beans over here, and I have -8 beans here. Of course, it'd be difficult to demonstrate that, but we can solve it algebraically. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of my beans on the outside. The way I get rid of this is I do the opposite operation. The opposite of minus is plus. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And so I have 1/5 c is equal to, here it's a good idea to do a diagram again, just like we did on the very first problem of tonight's notes. So this is small, so that gets 1 negative. This is a bigger number, so that gets 2 positives. I circle both. Because these signs are different, that tells me to subtract these 2 numbers. So 8 minus 3 gives me 5, and the answer is positive because of the positive on the outside of the circle. Okay, so I have 1/5 equals 5, and then my last step is to get rid of this fraction here. And the way I get rid of that fraction is by doing multiplication again. I want to get rid of that denominator. To get rid of that denominator, I need to multiply, and I multiply by what I want to get rid of. Just like I wanted to get rid of that 4, so I multiplied by 4. Here I want to get rid of that 5, so I'm going to multiply by 5. Multiply this side by 5, and the right-hand side by 5. So what I get here is, that's a 1. So I'm left with 1 times c, which equals c, and 5 times 5 equals 25. Okay, so there's 4 different examples of 2-step equations. It builds on top of the 1-step equation we were doing Friday. I'm going to go ahead and give you 4 problems to try. They are very much like the problems that we just did. So look at your notes and go right through the notes, and you should be able to solve them relatively simply. So here are the 4 problems. So you see one thing that's different is I changed it from c to x, because the variable most times we use x or n. I've been using c for cups, but it could be any variable. So the first one is 3x plus 2 equals negative 10. 4x minus 5 equals 19. X over 3 plus 1 equals 6. And 1/2 x minus 4 equals negative 1. So I'd like you to try these 4 problems. You can do them on the left-hand page of your notes to practice them, and just go right through the steps of the notes that you just took, and I think you'll be able to do it without too much difficulty. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.